Hello VTubers, Figured here, and welcome to a special video that TheChudude and I will be making. How are you doing, TheChudude?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so we'll be doing a little Tour de France betting preview. TheChudude and I are both veteran bettors. You can also say we're addicts to betting, but sounds better to say that we're veterans. But why don't you give us a little background story? Like, what are your biggest victories in betting?
Well, I've certainly haven't really won that many, but I've made a lot of bets. I'm on track to winning a big one, Nicky Terpstra and Peter Sagan. So I bet on Terpstra at Roubaix, he went through, and Sagan just has to finish off with the green jersey. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with that. That's going to net me about 130 bucks. So I'm looking good on that. I've got a lot of other bets in mind that I have looking at, which could be a good chance of winning as well. So I'm excited for the tour. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for me and you.
How much do you get if Sagan gets the green jersey? How much do you actually win?
130. It'll be 128, I think. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I really hope that goes through for you because that's like betting for Nicky Terpstra was just crazy.
That was a $4 bet as well, by the way. So.
You better hope he doesn't mess up. But on to topic. We're here today, guys, to make some like a preview for the Tour de France. We want to tell you what are we comfortable betting on, and if some of you guys are veteran affiliate watchers, my channel, you know that I once did the Le Tour de France the affiliate way 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, but this year I will be starting off the Tour de France with 50 bucks. I'll see how far 50 bucks will get me throughout the 21 stages. I will tell you in tips 10 how everything is going, how everything's looking. So it's gonna be interesting to see. There's some flies in here. It's so annoying. But okay, let's get off. The very first thing you can bet on, I'm gonna be betting on a Danish side, guys, because that covers my insurance. If I get fucked over by the government, I can sue them and I can get even more money. So I do this to make sure that I actually get the money that I bet on. So for the Tour winner, who do you see here as a good bet, or do you see any good bet at all for the winner?
Well, we can see here the favorite, Chris Froome, $1.90. Alberto's $2.25. It's really not offering you guys much. It's really high risk because it is a 21 stage race and a crash can happen anywhere and that can just ruin anything. I mean, we saw that at the Dauphiné when Froome just was looking on top of the world to looking like crap the next day. So
yeah.
Yeah, So it's kind of a thing where if you want to put money on the GC, put it in like a value, like a multi-bet. So you got 2 or 3 legs in it. That's probably the best way. But other than that, I would recommend to stay away from GC simply because I think it's going to be really close between Alberto and Froome. So yeah.
Well, I gotta say, if you have to bet for the Tour de France winner, don't bet for either Froome or Contador. Bet for like Nibali or Alberto. Because you don't
go for a value bet.
Yeah. But normally I don't like these. Like personally, I don't like these bets because they're so high risk, low reward. That is if you bet on like a safe bet. But if you bet on a high guy, it's high risk, high reward. But you kind of want those bets who are low risk and high reward. Like I know. Let's talk about the one bet you did find today, which I know you made a video about. And there'll be a link in the description and an annotation on screen right now to that video. But tell me about that video you made.
Alright, so basically on the Australian site, sportsbet.com, probably not the smartest people, so maybe go on that site if you want some really good deals because they got some, they're probably not into cycling, so to speak, but there's some really good deals. There's one bet today, Theo Boss versus Arnaud Demar, stage 1 of the Tour de France. I can tell you, Theo Boss is actually not going to the race and Demar is going to be the leader and he's paying $1.33, so you can pretty much put $1,000 there and win 300 bucks if you want to, because Theo Boss is actually not going. So head on to sportsbet.com.au. So
that's
so
a good
stupid.
Bet. Yeah, go and bet on that if you're Australian. I wouldn't recommend betting on that side if you're not Australian because you're not covered by the Australian law. So they could fuck you over. So watch out for that. But yeah, for the GC, stay away unless you're gonna bet on a multi. Like a multi is where you have multiple bets. Like let's say if you want to have a multi, you could bet on Chris Froome to win the tour, and then you can go down in the podium, and you can also bet on Alberto Contador to get podium. Then you get 1.30 times 1.90 in total.
Yeah.
Let me just show you. So if I want Froome to win and I want Contador to win to get podium, and I put, let's say I would probably like to put I'll put $10 on each. $10. So here Well, I have to be logged in to show you guys how it works, so I'm not logged in currently. But then it would tell you that you have 1.90 times 1.30, which is like 2.60. Or what is that? 2.70, 2.70 in all. So you get your thing, your bet 2.7 times back. So if I bet like $5, I would get $5 times 2.7 back. So that's how that works, guys.
Well, some betting sites are different. Some betting sites, they don't let you bet on the same race. So you can't just bet on Chris Froome to win the Tour de France and then Chris Froome to bet on the podium. It doesn't work like that. Some sites have their own like terms and conditions, so you might want to be aware of that before you put your bets as well. So
exactly. It'll probably tell you. It'll probably tell you that you're not allowed to do it. Otherwise, it's kind of cheating you. Read the rules. If you're gonna bet, read the rules of your side. Know your side inside out, and make sure you're covered by the law of your country. But if we go down to Podium, here I actually see quite a few value bets. First of all, Chris Froome, Contador, stay away from them. 1.25, 1.30. Not really worth it in my opinion. But you see guys like Nibali, Valverde, and Talansky. All those three bets are good single bets, and they're good multi bets. Also, Vandenbroek is questionable.
I like Vandenbroek right there. That's a very nice. Even like someone like a Kreuziger, you really think he could do well? I don't know. Maybe
I doubt
it's really pushing it, but yeah. I mean, there's a lot of questionable guys right there. If you take away Froome and Contador, if you look at it, it's wide open. It could go to anyone. Like, you just don't know looking at that list. It's not a standout guy, really.
I like Valverde though. I like Valverde. I know you guys are probably gonna say Talansky looked better in the criteria different, but the only reason Talansky won was because he was in the breakaway. If he would not have been that tactical smart, like that thing won't ever happen in Tour de France. It's not one thing, like once in a lifetime experience, and it's not gonna happen again. So I doubt he's gonna get a podium. But a guy like Valverde, he's shown before that he is definitely capable of getting on a podium. I think he got, what did he get, 4th or 5th last year?
Yeah, he was probably 5th or 6th, and he lost like a chunk of time in the crosswind stage.
Because they wasn't even going for it. They were going for Quintana, but he showed that he can follow the mountain stages. And with him being the main guy for Movistar, a top 3 finish is not bad. But once again, I'm staying away from these bets. Are you gonna bet on any of these bets?
Not any of these. Like, just not looking good. But however, there's one that looks good. It's the King of the Mountains. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, we can see at the King of the Mountains, we see Alberto Contador's 450 and Pierre Roelan's 450 as well. Froome's not too far behind, but this is one that's really wide open. No one knows who can win it, and there's so much good odds if you are smart enough and really think it through. It's going to be wide open. Like,
who would you bet on? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Brice Filieu. Is a guy who's probably could probably wear the mountains jersey for the first 14 stages, but can't hold on to it. But then you have a guy like Atapuma. If he really went for it, could be another Arredondo. Like, who are you looking at?
Well, one thing you want to think about, because this year I think it's going to be different. We saw last year Quintana won, who was a GC guy, but this year you really got to think about how the teams will react to this. Do you think Contador and Froome, how their teams are going to do? Are they going to set a high tempo, or are they going to be relaxing and let the brakes go? So that's one thing. I'm pretty sure this year, looking at the teams, I think they're going to let someone else go for it, and someone's going to really want it will get it. So someone could, like TJ Van Garderen, someone who crashes early on in the tour might go for it. Even Nibali, if he crashes really bad on the cobbled stage and loses 20 minutes, he could go for it. It's really wide open. If you guys are smart enough, just pick one guy and go for it.
More like if you're lucky enough. If you're lucky enough and get it, yeah, sure. I really like. It's impossible. This is like a needle in a haystack. If you guess it correctly, you'll get so much back. But if you don't guess it correctly, you'll just be sitting there for the entire tour.
I mean, you're not even losing much if you think about someone like let's take Acevedo, $50. You can put maybe $3, and that's paying you back $150. So $3. Don't go out and buy a packet of chips. Put on Acevedo.
Yeah. I was trying to convince you guys to bet, but okay. So we're constantly saying I wouldn't bet on this. What would you bet on? I know like the things that we would bet on are not out yet because we have to get closer to the Tour de France. But what would you bet on? Like, what kind of stages would you bet on? How would you bet?
I know. For me, it's different to you. I mean, we both have different opinions and different styles of betting. For me, I like on betting low and winning big. So the bet's like your maybe King of the Mountains, but I like it like maybe 2 or 3 legs, and maybe go for. I like the stages because the stages are really wide open. And if you research enough on the stage, you look at the wind, you look at all that stuff, the finishing 100 meters, how wide the roads are. If you do those researches like hardcore, like sometimes when I do, you can really get a good feel about 5 guys who generally have a chance, and then you really back your instincts. That's why I like it, and generally those bets pay like decent amount.
Yeah.
If you go for a stage one,
I
so
have
I
on
like
screen right
going
now.
maybe. Yeah, I like going maybe $4 and winning maybe 100 if you put like 3 guys, 3 legs. But that's difficult. I mean, it does pay big, but you're not losing much if you lose. So that's how I like it, and that's how I've got success in the past. So I'm going to stick to that. I mean, what's your tactic?
Well, what I like to do, I can also show you that on screen right now. What I like to do is I love head-to-head. Head-to-head is a 50-50 bet. You either win or you lose. There's 2 guys. You have 2 guys you're betting on. Head-to-head, it's in the name. Head-to-head. So like head-to-head winner. Either Chris Froome is gonna win it or Alberto Contador is gonna win it. So you have a 50% chance of winning. Then if we go back and watch TheChudude's bets, he likes to bet on the stage winner. You see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 4 teams times 3. You have like 52 or about that. 52 different guys you can bet on. That's way less than 50% chance. And I like the safe bets. Like I have a betting system where I bet like it's a $4 on 2.99, and then I bet like $6 on 3.15, and you move up, so you always have savings and stuff. And if you don't have a betting system, it'll just go wrong for you. But head to head is where it's at for me because it's 50% chance of winning and 50% chance of losing. It's not gonna get any better of that. What do you think? What do you think of my
I mean,
opinion?
for someone like, I think it certainly works, but it's it's not going to win you money like big amount of money, and it's really slow, but it'll get you somewhere. But for me, I'm going for broke. $3 to me means nothing. See that $4 on turf shot, that could get me 130 or whatever, and that's going to make my day a lot happier than winning
True.
$4, $5 at a time. And it's going to take a long time. You only have a certain amount of stages to go for each year. There's 21 days in the Tour de France, so
Well, if you win every
obviously.
single stage, if you get money every single stage, and you go from $4 to $50, and you saved like all the spare change in between, that's a lot of money you saved up in actually won.
we should start up saying like we both start off with like $5 or something.
I'm starting off with $50 this year in the tour.
Yeah,
Starting off
it'll
50
be good
bucks.
fun.
I need some insurance in case I mess up the bet. But we actually gotta get back on topic because we missed one jersey. There is the green jersey, and I know you already have your money put on Peter Sagan. And if I would have to bet on somebody, I would bet on Peter Sagan. But with the odds that this site is giving, I would not bet on Peter Sagan. Like, if you look at DK, the website I'm gonna be using, Muscle Kittel or Mark Cavendish, they're higher value bets, but they're also higher risk bets. But a guy like Marcel Kittel could probably win it. Like with the stages we have this year, there's so many flat finishes. Like I don't think I think there are like 2 or 3 stages that suits Sagan, but then there are like 5 to 6 stages that suits both Kittel and Cavendish. What do you think about the green jersey?
I like right now. I'm starting to lean away from Sagan. Like every day we get closer because Kittel is so dominating. We saw what he could do at the Giro. That one stage where he was like 50 meters behind when you launch your sprint, like that just scares you. Like if you really think about it, every single sprint stage that Kittel has a chance to win, what happens if he comes first or second? Like, and Sagan, you think the sprinters this year have gotten better? Like you got Demar who's going to be up there, Greipel. Like no sprinters have been absolutely dominating this year besides Kittel. Sagan could easily be finishing like 6th or 7th or 8th each stage, which isn't his what he used to do, like top 3 or 4 or 5. So that could be a worry for Sagan. I mean, Sagan can definitely go in the breakaway and maybe get the intermediate sprints, which do offer a lot of points. But I think if Kittel goes for it, like, and goes crazy and literally wins every single stage or first or second in every single flat stage, it's gonna be hard to really beat Kittel if you think about it. I might be putting a bet on Kittel just for insurance, just in case. If Sagan doesn't go through for me and I just lose big time. So it's not a bad one. Cavendish, I'll probably stay away from Cav because, he just hasn't been that good and he hasn't been Kittel yet in his life. So
Yeah, it's actually a fun fact. Cavendish has not beat Kittel in a head-to-head sprint ever. He has
Flat
never
out.
beaten him. He's never beaten him. Never gotten a better position than Kittel in a head-to-head sprint when they've been
And
against each other.
yeah, that's discounting if Kittle's crashed or anything like that, which has happened.
Yeah, exactly. When they're both like actually like 100% fit in a sprint training against each other, Kittel has always beat Cavendish, and I think Kittel is a safer bet than Cavendish. Cavendish has a bigger name, that might be true, but still think Kittel is better to back. But Peter Sagan doesn't win it on the flat stages. Peter Sagan wins the green jersey on the tougher climbs, the stages where he can actually survive with the mountain guys. We saw in Tour de Suisse he won like the third stage, I believe it was, where it was an uphill finish, and he managed to sprint away from Michael Albacini and win the stage. So, like stage 2, I have Peter Sagan's name written all over that. Like, if you look at the profile, stage 2 is like Simon Gerrans versus Peter Sagan like last year, the rematch of that. Stage 4 has a tiny uphill finish, might fit him. Stage 5 is a cobblestone stage, also could fit Sagan. Stage 7 could also fit Sagan, but I guess Kittel could survive that little road bump. But there are actually quite a few stages that Sagan could get top 3 in, or then the mountain stages where you can go in the breakaway. So, would not rule him out.
And I think Sagan's just going to this tour just targeting the green jersey, whereas Kittel, Cavendish, they're probably more going to leaning towards the stage win side. So Sagan's, he's obviously got the team around him for that.
That's always been Cavendish, though. That's always been Cavendish's, what's it called, like his mindset. His mindset has always been, stages first, and if you get the green jersey, that's just a bonus. But I measure how good I'm doing by the amount of stages I won so far. That's how Cavendish always have done it. I don't know how Kittel has done it, because he's only been there like 2 years. 1 year? Did he start last year?
But he started last year, I think. Yeah. And also Sagan, we've seen his team in the past, like they go up a hill, and the team just cranks it up, like suddenly just paces like crazy just to drop like Cavendish and Kidal. So we know they're not afraid to do that. So that can obviously work in Sagan's favor, I think.
Okay, so you said you like stage winners. I said I liked head-to-head. So let's try and go through all 21 stages, and you pick the stage winner, and I say what kind of head-to-head I'll be betting on. So stage 1, who do you think is going to win the stage? Who would you bet on?
Stage 1, I'm going for Kittel. Like that's, I think undoubtedly it's going to be Kittel.
He's going to give 2.75 back if he wins.
Yeah, but I can tell you, stage 3, it's going to be Cavendish. Inside knowledge, he's been reconning this stage like his absolute ass off. He knows all those. He's probably ridden on that finish line probably a couple hundred times. Like I've heard he's been gone like OCD on that stage. He's going to win this third stage at the Tour this year.
It's in London, so I guess it makes sense that he's really going for it. But stage 1, and I head-to-head bet, I would take Kittel versus Cavendish. That is the head-to-head bet I would take, and I would take Kittel. So I guess I'm backing your opinion that Kittel is going to win the stage, but the head-to-head stage is more of like a 50-50, because crashes will probably happen. We saw last year in the second stage that there was a big crash with like 3 kilometers to go, mainly because of the Orca team bus. Screw you, Australians, but crashes do happen, and when you take a 50-50, you just have to hope the other guy either crashes or falls behind. So head-to-head in stage 1, probably back Kittel versus Cavendish. How about stage 2? I know you have your eyes in this one with a certain guy.
There's obviously 2 guys that straight away pop in my mind, Simon Gerrans and Sagan. It just brings you back to that day when Gerrans won that sprint against Sagan. It feels like it's one of those stages again this year. I don't know, it could be someone like Christoph can get over it, definitely. But stage 2 looks pretty, I mean, it's got some climbs. I don't think any of the big names like Cavendish or Kittel is getting over it. Maybe a very motivated greipel, but I don't see any of those guys getting over those. There's a lot of climbs, a lot of categories. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a Sagan or Gerrans.
The stage where Gerrans won it last year in front of Sagan, it wasn't even as tough as like the second stage of this year's tour. Like you probably can't see it right now, but it was a category 2 climb with 13 kilometers to go.
I remember
which dropped
it, yeah.
Kidal and all those guys, but it was a flat sprint in the end. And Simon Gerrans beat Peter Sagan in a flat sprint in the end. So with this, like I watched a video from Global Cycling Network saying that this final climb is 800 meters long, and the max slope they're gonna have is 25%, and the average is gonna be 10%. So Kidal and greipel and Cavendish, they will get dropped, because I'm pretty sure we'll see people attack with 5 kilometers to go. So you see your Vauclair, Chavanel try to win the leader's jersey, and that's gonna drop them. And then you're gonna have your Orca Green Edge, you're gonna have your Cannondale pacing, which is gonna drop the main sprinters. So we're gonna see a Sagan versus Gerrans here.
I can tell you the harder the stage is, the better it is looking for Gerrans. Because Sagan, we've seen him, the harder it is, it doesn't necessarily get better for him because his sprinting legs tend to go away. We see that in the 200k plus stage. I mean, this one's 201ks, but the climbs are going to be tough. It's going to really push Sagan. So I think it might work into Gerrans' favor. And when Gerrans really puts something on his objectives, he normally hits his target. Like, he's pretty full on once he goes for something. So if he goes for it, he probably can win it, I think. Yeah.
But this one, head to head, I would stay away from Gerrans versus Sagan. I'd stay away from that one because Sagan is so good that you never know him. So I would stay away from that head to head. Stay away from Sagan versus Gerrans. It's too risky. You just can't tell who's ever's gonna win the stage because if Gerrans doesn't get away in the uphill, I doubt he'll beat Sagan. But another bet I would look at was going to be Cavendish versus greipel or Cavendish versus Kidal. And I'm almost certain that anyone will beat Cavendish because, as you said, Cavendish targeted stage 3. He won't take any chances on stage 2. He will just sit back, relax, know that he won't win the stage, and just relax and stay back. Meanwhile, you're going to see the other guys just target every single stage they'll get. So we'll see Kidal and greipel just drive away, hoping to stay with the peloton. So I would take a head-to-head bet here and bet against Cavendish. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's not a bad bet at all. I think greipel is probably the one who's probably better on the climb. So we've seen it this year. He's slowly, I think, I have a feeling he's slowly moving away from the sprints and being more, or he's sort of built the ability to climb a bit more this year. I just feel it. I mean, we saw the Tour Down Under, and then I can't remember, he went on an attack. He went on an attack, yeah, something like that. So it seems like he's showing away. So this could be a stage if he can really get over it. I don't think he still will, but he's definitely going to be stronger than the other sprinters.
So stage 3, you said Cavendish was going to win.
Yeah.
I did all that research. Head to head on that stage, I would stay away. I would not bet on that stage head to head. I mean, probably you could bet on like some 4th or 5th guys. Like a guy like Lobato is really strong on a stage like this. Look out for Lobato. Lobato is underestimated how good he actually is. So you'll probably have like Lobato versus Danny van Poppel, and I'll probably bet Lobato's way. But in general, I probably wouldn't bet head to head on this stage because it's only 155 kilometers long. So you see all the main sprinters have all their energy left. And it's pretty much impossible to guess who's going to win this. What do you think?
I also think the head-to-head bets are good for when it's like smaller name riders, not your Cavendish or greipels. Like what you said, the Van Poppels and that. If they are in the head-to-head and you do your research, you can probably win the majority of those. I mean, they're hard, but they're not really hard. Like it's logical at times if you do your research. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. I reckon go for your head-to-head bets on some stage where you've done enough research. I mean, and there's no big names. I mean, when I talk about the value bets, I'm really talking about more of the breakaway days and the tough mountain days where you think a breakaway can go away and maybe someone like can offer you some value. You know, where sprint stages are more difficult to go for those value bets because it's always going to be your Sagans, your greipels, your Cavendish, your Kittel. So you might want to go to head-to-heads on the sprint, so that's more logical, I think. Yeah.
But the thing,
definitely.
When you bet head-to-head with lesser-known names, they don't always sprint. I've done my fair share of head-to-head bets, and when you bet, like you see, Lobato and Mandolo and all Ferrari, these guys are informed. They could probably win the stage, but they're not the main guys. Like you have Cavendish and Kidal and these guys at the stage and they're gonna win the stage. Then you have the secondary sprinters. It's not always the secondary sprinters give their 100% to get the best possible finish. When they see they can't win the stage, they just sit up and just fall back. So when you bet on those secondary riders, watch out. Make sure that they're gonna go 100% for the stage victory, because if they don't, they'll just sit up and just fall back. I bet on Tyler Roth before, and he's done that multiple times. So that sucks. Stage 4, what do you think about stage 4?
Stage 4, is that the cobbled stage?
Nope, it's not yet. Stage here.
I'll have a look at this. I got it here. The Lily, it's pretty much pancake flat. I mean, it's hard. Anything that's pancake flat, it's hard to stay away from Kittel. I mean, by the time we get to it, it might be different. You never know. It might be super windy or it might be super rainy. It could suit someone like Cavendish. I mean, the more the extreme weathers come in, could be suited for the breakaways. Obviously, I mean, we just don't know what the weather and what the conditions are going to be like this early. So, taking a bet this early is outrageous. But I mean, anything flat is going to go to Kittal, I think, right now.
You think?
It's
Okay,
hard to
I'm
bet
reading.
against.
I have a magazine. It's the official Danish tour magazine, and according to the experts, there's going to be a lot of side wind because this stage is going to be ridden at the ocean. We're going to have the ocean to the right, so we could see a bunch of echelons here. But I don't think that will happen because you have the stage 5 there, and people want to be rested. Like the cobblestone stage is going to be the most crucial stage of this year's tour, I think, and you want to be rested. So there's possibility of echelons if someone goes hardcore form, but I don't think they will happen. Do you think that?
I think it could if Cavendish wants to go for Cavendish is the one that screams in my mind because he's not going to care about the cobbled stage. Like if he can rally his teammates around him to really motivate them at that stage, he can do it. But it's all about his teammates. Does his teammates think they got a better shot at going for the cobbles the next stage? Maybe they do, but if Cavendish wants to go for it, we've seen it in the past when guys want to split it up, they do split it up. We saw that when Valverde got dropped and Chris, and teams just do it. They just crank it up, and next thing you know, you either make the cut or you just go flying back. So, and Cavendish is one of those guys who's smart enough to make those cuts. He's so good at positioning. So, someone like Cavendish at stage 4, if you notice the wind is really high, check your local weather guides, obviously, and that can definitely help you. Yeah.
Head to head here, I think I would bet on the same guy who won the 3rd stage. Like here, I'll probably bet on the same guy. So, like it's kind of difficult for this stage because if there is a side win on this stage, who knows? But I think Cavendish is a pretty good head to head bet here. But you can also look at your secondary riders. But if your secondary riders get caught behind, there's gonna be no guys going back to help them. So be cautious, like be careful when you bet on stages like stage 3, stage 4. Those are the kind of stages that require a lot of research. You have to find out who is actually going for it and who is saving energy. Because don't bet for Sagan in stage 4. Do not bet on Sagan because stage 5 is his playground. Speaking of stage 5, that is going to be the cobblestone stage. Who do you think is going to be the winner? Like who would you bet on as winner?
This is the wide open one. Will we see attacks by Cancellara? Will we see moves from Chavanel? Would we see Christoph winning it in the sprint or Sagan going for a sprint, which is definitely very possible? It's one that's wide open. No one knows. I mean, I can just tell is it's going to be very tense. So when they hit the cobbles, GC guys who aren't used to it is going to be tense, and you could see a lot of crashes definitely. The way the race is going to be defensive. So maybe they do let someone like a Cancellara go or Van Mark or someone like that who's not a threat, and no one wants to pace it down. So it's really tough, this one. I don't think you can really bet on this stage unless you get like a really good odds, like head to head maybe. But if you go for a value bet, like if there's someone you really think could get away and they offer good money, go for it. Like this is the time where you can maybe make some cash if there's
I see a head-to-head bet on this stage that I would definitely take. It would be Sagan versus anybody. I don't think anyone can beat Sagan on this stage. This is the stage Sagan will go for.
Yeah, but then they might put him up against who's Christoph or a
he could beat Christoph.
Degenkolb.
Well, they won't ride for Degenkolb. They'll ride for Sagan. Oh yeah, okay, we can put up against Degenkolb, but they won't ride. They won't ride for Degenkolb. They'll ride to make sure that Kidal is not in problems. You won't see Kidal help him.
I think Kittel won't help him certainly, but I think the way Giants got their chemistry going is they're still going to work for Degenkolb on the stages they believe he can go for. I saw in the article, I mean, they have Degenkolb as the main leader for some stages that they think he can get over. There's a lot of the hilly ones as well. And this one is certainly one. We've seen Degenkolb, he's earned his respect. Like this guy can probably sprint he's one of the best sprinters in the world. With the cobblestones, he's done well in Roubaix, he's done well in the cobbled season. So this stage is screaming Degenkolb's name as well. So he's one that you can't look past, and a lot of people are underestimating him because Kittel's in his team and he's failing. You know, he probably deserves a new team as well.
But if I see a Degenkolb versus Sagan, I'd still take Sagan. That would probably Degenkolb versus Sagan would probably be like a 175 to Sagan, 185 to Degenkolb is what I'm like predicting it will probably be. But I still see Sagan winning this because this is the Tour. Sagan, if Sagan went to the Paris-Roubaix, he probably didn't he? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Roubaix, yeah, this year he did.
Let me just check that. But I would still,
He definitely did.
I would still take a guy like Sagan over him because this is the Tour. And he will probably win it. Sagan lost the bunch sprint to Degenkolb. Sagan was 6th and Degenkolb was 2nd.
Yeah.
I would still take Peter Sagan because Peter Sagan is going to be a guy who needs to win. He needs to win stages like this. If he wants to win the green jersey, he needs to win stages like this. And I think he can do it. So head to head, Degenkolb versus Sagan. That's probably a pretty good prediction. And I would take Sagan. Stage 6.
Also,
yeah.
Also at Roubaix when Degenkolb beat Sagan in the sprint, Sagan went on the attacks. He went all out before that, where Degenkolb just sat back. So it's different storyline this year. This stage, it's 150 Ks, and it'll suit Sagan more, I think. Yeah.
I think so too. Stage 6. Well, it's gonna be another sprint stage, and at this point, we're so far into the race. I don't think we can really predict a winner now, because it's probably whoever's doing the best in the first like 4 or 5 stages that's gonna win the stage. Like normally in the Tour, you have one sprinter dominating, and who do you think is gonna be this year?
Kittel.
So you also have Kittel for this stage.
Well, prefer like unless there's any disasters, it's gonna be Kittel. It's I'm bet against him.
Once again, head to head in this stage. You have to look at the previous results in the Tour de France. Last year I made quite a lot of money betting on Juan Antonio Flecha. Flecha was sprinting like no tomorrow last year and got like 5th, 6th, and 7th like consistently in the sprint stages. And the odds, like the odds makers or the bookmarkers kept giving him insane odds. Like they were like, Flecha can't sprint, but Flecha getting top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. Yeah, stages like this, you have to watch out for the small guys because they're going to be good. But I think stage 7 is going to be more interesting to talk about. Do you think that category 4 climb will matter?
Yeah, I'm looking at this climb here. It will matter, certainly, but to what extent? How much of the legs will it take out of someone like Cavendish? It's going to be tough to tell. It's probably, 5.5 Ks from the finish line. Yep. It's it reaches 8% here, 7.9%, so it definitely will hurt the guys, but I don't know how much, but I think it could easily be Sagan. Yeah. Depends how hard they want to crank it up, how motivated Contador is. I mean, there's another climb before that as well, 3 Ks. It's not as steep though, but it really depends on how motivated the guys are by then. It's your week in, your legs start to tingle a bit, so 234 Ks, guys. 234 Ks, that's kind of...
But the climb is only 1.3 kilometers long, so, I mean, it's 1.3 kilometers long of 7.9 average. I doubt that's going to make any difference. I think we'll see a heads-up sprint between Kidal, Sagan, greipel, and Cavendish. I don't think any of the big names will get dropped. Sure, they'll feel it, but I don't think they'll get dropped, and I don't think Sagan can beat these guys in a straight-up sprint, even though they're tired.
Well, it'll probably be one of those sprints where it just looks like it's in slow motion with all the guys in. Yeah, I agree. But they'll be cranking a high gear and just powering really slowly away.
This is kind of one of the stages where I can't tell now. Like last 2 stages, can't really tell now how it's gonna be. It's pretty much impossible to like bet on this stage. But I would look for Kidal or greipel or Cavendish for this one. I don't think Sagan is going to be able to win this one. I think Sagan is going to get great odds from the bookmarkers, but I don't think that he's going to win the stage. It's not tough enough. Like, the stage is not that tough. Like, look, they basically have 220 kilometers of flat roads before 2 little climbs.
Yeah, it's not... it could even be an outsider, maybe like someone
on a stage like this, like he did last year.
Yeah, any of those guys, even maybe a Tom Yalta Slachter, he just goes in a weird attack or something like that. Someone out of the blue. Even Michael Matthews, he could be going for it. You never know.
Because you can't Levin's come back, even though he's not in the race, just into the race. Probably couldn't. Stage 8 though. Stage 8, very interesting stage. Do you think a GC contender will win this stage?
No, it's going to be the first day in the mountains. Obviously, it's first test. It's not really a mountain, but it'll be a test. But it's going to be that stage. If you remember the Giro when Ulysses won that first climb, it's going to be something like that. I think again, it could suit anyone. It could be someone like let me think, someone who's different, like who's not a big name and can sprint and climb a bit, a punchy guy. could go for it. I don't know really. It could be.
Could be anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking at this and seeing one guy.
It's one of the first climbs where everyone wants to win. You know, all the climbers, their eyes light up because they finally get a chance after the sprint stages after sprint stages. So it could be just all out. A lot of people going for it, and just this is where I like those valley bets I'm talking about. These kind of stages where it's really up for anyone, and you see if you research enough and you see a rider who likes these stages, you can probably go for it. But it's tough, but you get your values worth if you go for it.
According to the experts, this stage will be won by a breakaway, and according to Rolf Sørensen, a Danish expert, he thinks a guy like Thomas Vauclair is going to be a favorite for this stage. Like Sylvain Chavanel, Thomas Vauclair, Tony Martin would go in the breakaway, try to survive, and then attack on the category 3. And I have to agree, I see a breakaway winning this stage. The final climb is not long enough, and it's not steep enough. It is only 1.8 kilometers long. You will see a breakaway winning this stage. The GC riders, they're too scared of this. Like, what if a guy like Contador puts in a big attack and you're not able to accelerate fast enough in 1 kilometer or 1.8 kilometers time? I think they'll just let a breakaway go. Or we could actually see Peter Sagan win this stage.
Peter Sagan's, I don't know. I don't think this is a stage for him, but he gets some climbs over it. Like, I'm looking at the stage right here.
He won last year, not last year, like earlier in the week, he won a sick mountain stage up to Tour de Suisse. It was up Heiden. If you see on screen right now, you see the here, I'll show it to you, I'll link it to you in Skype as well. You see the race profile. For me, this kind of looks identical to what we're seeing, so a guy like Peter Sagan might be interested in keeping the peloton together and trying to win this stage. He won something like that in Tour de Suisse, and you could probably win it again here. I mean, there's not going to be... I mean, Alberto Contador could probably sprint against him, but I still think that Sagan could take valuable points on a stage like this. So it's either going to be a breakaway, or it's going to be your Alpecini, Simon Gerrans, Peter Sagan type of rider.
Yeah, those type of riders. Definitely. I mean, breakaways... I don't know, first climb... It could, what could happen? A breakaway could go and do like what Tommy Vogler did when he was holding his jersey, which felt like forever. Mm-hmm. It could happen this year. It could easily happen with the stages looking like stage 9, 10. All those stages could like give someone like 10 minutes or something.
Not stage 10. Not La Planche.
Stage 9.
Not stage 10. Stage 10 is a whole different story. But head-to-head in stage 8, look to back Peter Sagan. You might have noticed already that I say that Peter Sagan is a value bet all the time. That's because he is. This man can literally do anything, and he never gives up. Peter Sagan never gives up. When it might look impossible, he tries. So a guy like Peter Sagan, you always know will give it 100%, and he might not be capable of giving 100%, but he'll definitely try. So, backing Peter Sagan in the head-to-head in this stage, who do you think he'll be matched up against in a stage like this, head-to-head? Him versus Gerrans?
Probably. I mean, those two seem to have like a lot of battles in the past, and it only seems right to match them up. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah.
I agree. Stage 9. Let's look at this. This stage screams like a breakaway. Yeah.
Breakaway.
This is gonna be the guy. Here we're gonna see the guy. The guy who wants to win the mountain jersey will go out in the attack in stage 9 and stage 10. He will try to get the mountain jersey this way. Who do you think is gonna win the stage?
Oof, breakaway. It's whoever's lucky enough to get in the breakaway and has the legs for the day. Something like an Atapuma maybe, or those type of guys,
I personally wouldn't bet on this stage. I would just not bet. Because like so many things could happen and it's just not gonna happen. Like if you would have to bet on a stage like this, it would be some obscure bet like put $1 on Jan Bakelands to win it, and Jan Bakelands would probably be like giving 25 times back. Like that would probably be the bet I'd be doing.
Well. Yeah, those I like those bets. You can go for them if you want to. That's what I'll be going at. I'll be researching these stages very closely. Mm-hmm. The ones where people look at it, this is obscure, I'm going to stay away from this. That's the stages where I like to go. And you really look at it now. I don't think anyone can say who can win, but when you get closer, you can see maybe some riders are sick, some this, that. The tours is big, so you never know. Something can definitely happen, and if you, as I say again, if you look at it closely, you might be able to pick 5 guys who are maybe challenging for it, and then who knows from there.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a breakaway victory. We'll see. It's just gonna be whoever wants to go in the breakaway. It could be a Michael Murkoff if he gets to go. I mean, probably would be a slave for Contador, but whatever. Stage 10. I said before, was definitely not going to be a breakaway victory. La Planche de Belize Philly. I know I said that wrong. Don't slaughter me on that. Don't butcher me on that. This stage is the first time we'll see Chris Froome, Contador, Vandenbroek, Talansky, Valverde. We'll see these guys try to attack each other. And personally, I know there's going to be a bet between Christopher Froome, Alberto Contador on this stage, and I will back Contador. Head to head. No. Scratch that. Froome. I would back Froome.
Froome, I'll go Froome.
Yeah.
Froome.
Back Froome. The very first mountain stage, you back Froome. Why would you back Froome?
He goes for every single first stage.
That's also my opinion. He wants to get that first stage. He might crack later on, might crash, but he always goes for it. Froome's the kind of character who wants to win everything. He can't give anything up.
And I feel like Contador he's a guy who wants to mark down Froome and not really show anything this early. He might want to just follow wheels and maybe let Froome go for it in a sprint or something like that. I feel like Contador is going to ride. If you guys remember the first climb at the Criterium Dauphiné, how Contador rode that, I can see that definitely happening again at this sort of stage. And Contador just...
That happened in Criterium. You just couldn't pass him. And he's just too strong. And it's going to happen here again, I think.
It could, yeah, definitely.
So, stage 11. Do we have to say it? But I think it's going to be another breakaway victory. What do you think?
That's a tour for you guys right there. Like all these in between stages where sprinters don't want to. I mean, sprinters could probably get over some of these climbs, but they choose not to. They a lot of the guys like. I mean, if this was a stage race, 1 day stage race, guys like Greipel and Cavendish will probably try to get over these climbs, but in the tour they won't because they want to save their legs and get maximal effort in the flat stage. I mean, we've seen at Milan San Remo those type of stages where Cavendish and these guys give everything to get over the climbs. It's not happening at these stages, so don't even worry about that.
Actually, I think. Like after reading this expert commentary, his comment on this stage, Peter Sagan, I've said before, needs to win the stages. He needs to find those in-between stages, and we've seen Cannondale before set a really high pace or drop Kidal and Cavendish and all these guys, and they wouldn't have to set a pace for a very long time. They would have to set the pace from kilometer 130 to 172, and then they'd be good for the rest of the stage. So, honestly, if it doesn't become a breakaway stage, like if Peter Sagan has a good Tour de France, I think a guy like Peter Sagan could definitely be a favorite to win the stage.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even need a pace from 130 to 172. They can probably pace for 15Ks and just drop them all anyway, if they want to, really. And then they can all just work together and attacks can go and whatever, and Sagan probably go for it. But I think we're giving, obviously there's a lot of stages that suit Sagan. I mean, when the more and more of these stages, it'll open the door right up for other riders. Obviously, riders will read each other, and guys like Yalta Slakta and all that. There's a lot of these kind of mid-range sprinters and hilly guys that just are out there who can actually go for it. And guys like even maybe like maybe like a Visconti or someone like that, just out of the blue, can just pop out and go for a sprint. Even Simon Clark as well. Some of those riders.
Rui Costa could win this in the sprint. He's not slow. Like Rui Costa is actually pretty fast, so he could mess with the sprint of this. But yeah, I think we are giving Sagan a bunch of credit, but that's because he is really, really, really good to bet. Like he's really good to bet on. Like,
even the Kwiatkowski, even someone like that.
I would not bet on Kwiatkowski. With his recent form, I would not bet on him. I bet on him in the Tour de Suisse, but
obviously when the stage comes closer, we would definitely have a better idea of how good someone like Kwiatkowski or those guys are going. So you get a better idea, obviously, and it definitely helps. Obviously, it's really tough to pick anyone right now, but we can really break it down a bit. I mean, yeah.
What do you think about the Silent Chance stage, the next stage, stage 12?
Stage 12, Cat 4, Cat 3. It's long. It's not steep. It's going to be again probably one of those slow sprints if they go for it, or a breakaway. I don't see anyone going for it. This 185 Ks. Yeah, it's not going to be much. It's going to be a breakaway. I think.
You think a breakaway?
I think a sprint.
I'm thinking Cavendish and Kidal won Rennes. revenge, because they can't, like, stage 11 they obviously can't win, or at least it looks like that. I don't think they can win it, but stage 12 it's not as hard. Like, it's not like it's not all packed. Stage 11 it's all packed like at each other, all the mountains are right after each other, but stage 12 I think the climbs are just too much, they're spread out too much, and I think guys like Kidal and Cavendish will survive to the end, and we'll see a guy like Kidal or Cavendish trying to win this. But yeah.
I mean, the off stage 10's tough. Oh, how tough are those mountains at stage 10? I mean, they could still be hurting. I mean, they don't get a proper rest at stage 11. I don't know. It's kind of difficult to say, but it depends how motivated they are, really.
If I know the bookmaker's correct, I know they will do a bet like Sagan versus Kittel in this stage, and I would actually back Kittel. Because I think like Sagan would be a favor, like 1.8 back, and Kittel would give 2 times back. And I think Kittel would be pretty good to back in this one. Because like Kittel has to win stages. We say Sagan has to win stages, but so does the other sprinters. The other sprinters also have to win stages if they want to get anything out of this Tour de France. And I think this is a stage Kittel could win. It's not hard enough to drop him, and it's not hard enough to suit Sagan that well, because it is a flat sprint.
I still think it's so easy for like a group of 8 guys to just go off the front with probably 30k to go, and just really make it difficult for the guys like John Shimano or Omega to pace them down and keep Cavendish or Kittel fresh. It's going to be tough. I mean, it's very easy.
One thing we didn't mention, it also depends on who actually has the yellow jersey at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, of course, we'll see Froome or Contador maybe in the yellow jersey, but what if like a mediocre secondary rider has the yellow jersey and they would have to pace here? Like, there are so many different variables you'll have to see when you actually get in the race. Because, I mean, who has the yellow jersey at this point? Do we really think Froome already have the jersey, or has the jersey?
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, if someone like, let's say, who could survive that mountain that could also win a sprint in here? Rui Costa had it. Would Lamprey be forced to pace here to like try and get the stage victory?
They'll pace non-stop there. They would. I mean, for a team like that, they want to have as much TV time as possible, and there's not going to be much breakaways going right there. So, yeah.
Well, stage 13 is a whole different case. I don't think we'll see Sagan or Kidal in this one. The out of category climb that they're gonna finish on is just, it's crazy. These are the kind of stages that I like to watch the most, because like, if you see stage 14, it looks like it's gonna be amazing. Like, you get there, it's the result stage, it's got so much hype, but nobody ever attacks on the mid-stage climb. That's why I like stage 13, which reminds me of last year's Mont Ventoux stage. That's why I like these stages. You don't have any expectations, but you come out with a lot of joy. Who do you think is gonna win this? Do you think Froome is gonna continue his dominance and win this stage? Would you back him for a victory?
Well, this is the first time when it's going to be the, I think, first official GC showdown. This is when the guys are going to really pull away. This is the Pyrenees climbs, I believe. So I think it's going to be up to obviously whoever has the best legs on the day, and I think to be honest, I'm starting to lean towards Contador to beat Froome this year. I just don't know why. I just like Contador the way he's going at it. We all know he's in good form. Chris Froome, we still have a little question mark over, and we all know Contador's in good form, and I think he could be a surprise this year. I mean, he's not going in as a favorite, so I think Contador could show up and really take this tour, and this will be the perfect stage for him to really go for. I think, yeah, this is the launching pad.
This one, I think, once again, we all know there's going to be a Contador versus Froome head-to-head here. If everything goes according to plan, we'll see a Froome versus Contador head-to-head here. I think for this climb, I would stay away from that, because this climb is too difficult to predict. Froome has already gotten his victory in La Plage. Like, he's already got his victory in stage, what was it, stage 10. He already got his stage victory there. But in stage 13, I think we might see, like, a guy like Wilco Kelderman could attack away. He's not going to the tour, I know, but a guy like his caliber, Matthias Frank, if he could survive with the mountains, we could see him attack away from the front group, and then neither Froome or Contador are interested in pacing him down on the final climb, because they're going to be looking at each other. And meanwhile, you see all these secondary riders attacking away from the favorites group and going against each other. So this one, I would look at some of the secondary riders to bet head-to-head on, because it could be very interesting.
I still think it's still too early for that because the guys like you're saying, Matthias Frank, all those guys, Froome or Contador might only have a minute and a half, 2 minutes on their max, and I don't think they'll be letting them go super far enough for them to win a stage like this because they're going to need a solid 3 minutes at the start of the climb to really do anything. So it's still, I think, very early. And let's think about it. They've only had one mountain stage. How much time can they carve up that? Maybe a guy like if someone crashes, a climber crashes, and they can definitely go for it. That's very possible, certainly.
But the thing is, like, I'm not suggesting that Matthias Frank goes in the breakaway. I'm suggesting that they start the climb together. The final 20 kilometers, they are together.
And they attack.
And they attack away. And you see, like, Contador's riding style. I think Contador has figured out that he has to beat Froome. And Froome has to beat Contador. But Contador can just sit back on Froome and not attack. Because Froome is, like, this guy who just has a super ego and wants to win everything. So at some point, Froome will accelerate. And Contador will just follow him and get a free ride. So I think that they will do this here. I mean, Contador has to attack to win because there's like only so many stages left, but I still believe that a stage like this is not tough enough for the secondary riders to lose all their energy, and I think they could attack away and win the stage, but enough for stage 13. It is all theoretical. I would back a secondary rider who's been doing good. Maybe Jürgen van der Broek. I'd back a guy like Jürgen van der Broek versus Bauke Mollema here. Like, those are the kind of bets I'd be looking at in this kind of stage. But stage 14, one of the most anticipated stages of this year's Tour de France, the Resource stage. Who's going to win? You think here that Alberto Contador is going to be able to make his mark and attack?
Well, by stage 14, we're going to know exactly who, or we probably know who's going to be winning the Tour de France, I dare to say, because after you have two mountain stages, you really know, generally every single time you really know where everyone is really at, and by that stage, I think whoever's going to be leading it probably wins the stage if they go for it. And we get the highest peak of the Tour this year. The Col du Iziard, I can't say probably, the second last climb. Yeah, it's going to be whoever is obviously the highest wins it. But then again, it could easily go to like a Jens Voigt, Adam Hansen, whoever wants to go in the morning break and just gets 30 minutes or something.
You would have to put a bet right here, right now, and you would have like Contador would give like 4 times back, Froome would give like 5 times back, and so on, like down the scale. Who would you really look at bidding on? Would you bid on a breakaway rider or bid on a mountain rider? Or GC?
It's tough. It's one of the things where if you really think, if you look at the non-GC guys and they offer enough back, and they've shown to have good form and maybe have one bad day where they crashed or something, you can definitely go for one of those guys. Or you can go stick with your GC and go for whoever's been doing well at the Contador or Froome, obviously. Yeah, it also screams out if Nibali loses some time, he might attack on that first climb and just go all out on the downhill.
So you mean like an Andy Schleck attack on Col de Galibier that 1 year?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's too early for that to happen, though.
If you believe it or not, this climb, the second last climb, that's where Andy Schleck attacked. That's the exact same climb where Andy Schleck attacked away. Could happen again this year. Never know.
Okay, so if a guy like Nibali lost too much time, he could actually go there. This stage, I won't go on a limb right now saying a head-to-head stage. I would have to wait to like stage 13 to give a head-to-head here that I really see value in, because you're not gonna get any value at this stage. Like right now, you're already gonna have like 3 stages, 3 mountain stages done, and you're gonna know who's in, who's out, as TheChudude mentioned before. And I'm just gonna wait until then to give a really good tip. But guys, you should be following the tips 10 that I'm gonna be doing on my channel. It's a competition that I run where I give away PCM, and in the end of every episode, I'll tell you how I did in the day. But that stage, it could be anybody's stage, but I honestly think we'll see Contador versus Froome on the top of the mountain. And it's going to be the guy who's in form or not injured or not crashed who's going to win the stage. And 50-50, can't say. Stage 15, sprint stage, Kidal, Greipel, Cavendish. Which one is going to be?
Any of them. 222 Ks. It's going to be dead flat sprint. Whoever, I guess, has the freshest legs going over all those tough climbs is probably the favorite. I don't know who has the better legs, what the weather is going to be like, obviously. I think obviously, all things are straight, and I think obviously Kittel's definitely the one. Cavendish, don't think so, but yeah, probably someone like Kidal. He's who knows? I mean, sprint trains are very, very difficult because it's a little 1%ers that mean so much more. If you go onto a turn with too high of a gear, you're pretty much screwed. You lost all your acceleration for the sprint. So, little 1%ers are tough to bet on, but it does. I mean, guys are so dominant these days, they don't make much mistakes. So,
I gotta say,
I don't know.
Kidal has the stage in the bag. Going in with what I know already, like we all know that Giant Shimano has the best sprint train ever to exist. At least that's my opinion. They know how to do it. They can do it with any rider. They could bring Luka Meskic, Nikias Arndt, Single Dam. They could bring Degenkolb, Kittel, Wheelers, all these guys. Doesn't matter who they're sprinting for. They'll get a top 3 finish. They're just that good at positioning themselves in the final kilometers. And I think that a stage like this will really matter. But according to the experts, the final 50 kilometers will be ridden with a really, really high wind. So if a team will break the peloton, if they're willing to do it or try it, it will happen. Because this was the exact same stage where Team CSC or Team Tinkoff Saxo Bank last year broke the peloton. This was last year's stage 13. Let me just look that up. It was last year's stage 13 where they broke the peloton in this exact same stage. So it can happen again. We could see Valverde. He was the guy who was a big victim, losing a lot of time. But Mark Cavendish won the stage last year when it got broken up, and there's a bunch of time gaps here. So look out for the big favorites. Cause let me see, how much time did Valverde lose? Valverde lost 9 minutes in this stage.
Yeah, he lost his chunk.
He lost 9 minutes in the 13th stage last year, and this was the exact same profile. Like stage 13. Let me check the profile of this. It's basically the exact same stage. Where is it? Stage 13? Here you go. It's a Tour de Santa Montron. Exact same stage, and it could happen this year again. So watch out for echelons. If a guy like Kittel and Cavendish and those guys survive, it'll be a sprint. But we could actually see like a reduced bunch sprint between the secondary riders, because this is quite a tough stage to win or to predict. So head to head, I'll back Kittel no matter what. Knowing how good Kittel is in the Giant Shimano train, you'll get a Kittel versus Cavendish here, and back Kittel, guys. Stage 16. Oh, you don't follow? You don't agree, or what?
No, I just think, yeah, definitely back Hill, but still, I mean, the wins, it's tough to bet. Like, anything can happen with those wins, and I think it's probably one of those you might want to stay away from with the strong wins, I think.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of value in that bet. Because at this point, Cavendish is going to have 1-2 stages, Kittel is going to 1-2 stages, and it'll be like 1.75, 1.75 each. And I think a guy like Kittel is going to pull off here. I really think that... I know, like, we're talking about variations and variables and all this stuff you have to watch out for, but you can't go into a stage and thinking, what if? And you're never going to bet on a stage.
Yeah.
Like, if we look at stage 16 and we say, what if Alberto Contador crashes in the neutral zone? I shouldn't bet on him. But, so, what are you thinking? I think you might be saying breakaway for this stage. I am definitely not saying breakaway. I'm seeing something else on the stage.
I'm looking at this 230 Ks. It's the distance where it suits a breakaway, I think. Like, if there's, it could easily be a stage where 16 guys get in a breakaway. They could easily let, like, guys just don't want to be pacing. Look, you see, from the very first start before the foot of that horse category climb, it's 196 Ks. Guys don't want to be seeing. I can tell you, if Sky's holding it, they don't want to be pacing for 200 Ks at a decent pace. If there's 16 guys who go, it could easily go to someone in those big groups. It's bound for a big group breakaway, and it could be one of those guys, I think.
I probably see my favorite bet of the entire tour right here. Contador to beat Froome on this specific stage. We saw in the Dauphiné, we saw in last year's tour that on these kind of stages, Contador attacked right at the top and just ride a fast-paced downhill. Like we saw in the Dauphiné, Contador brought Paulini to the front. Like he attacked, Paulini attacked, then 2 to 3 kilometers afterwards, we saw Contador attack, and it was a big downhill. And Froome did not like it one bit. And I think we'll see a repeat on this stage. So bagging Contador to beat Froome on this specific stage. I think Contador will take 30 seconds on this stage. He might not win this stage, That might be true.
Oh,
I wouldn't bet on him to win the stage, but he'll take 30 seconds here.
he's gutsy as hell. I mean, we saw that one stage at the tour last year where he caused Froome to crash as well. They both went down, and but the rest of the guys thankfully sat up and waited for him. But yeah, Contador, he's got guts, and this is one that he can pretty much go all out for.
He will.
Really go.
I can tell you. This is the stage where you're gonna have. If Froome is in the yellow jersey here, you will have Froome at 1.60 and you'll have Contador at 2.00. Contador will attack and he will gain 30 seconds, guys. Mark my words. Come back when he does gain 30 seconds and tell me, Phil, you were right.
Or he crashes and just kills himself.
Then go to TheChudude and tell TheChudude you were right. But I hope that doesn't happen because we have had too many deaths this year. Stage 17. This is like the second to last chance they'll really have at making a mountaintop finish or really make a difference with their mountain abilities. And I think if Contador did not succeed in stage 16 and getting 30 seconds, him and the rest of Team Saxo Bank Tinkoff will attack as much, or Tinkoff Saxo Bank will try to attack as much as possible. What do you think?
I don't know, like, really, after that many mountain stages, how close could it really get? I can tell you if it's still close, we're in for a hell of a tour. But generally, after all these climbs, you know who's going to be the winner, and generally the leader, like last year, Froome had like 3 minutes or whatever.
That's because of the 2 time trials as well. There were 3 time trials in total last year.
Yeah.
So that's a different thing because this year there's only 1.
But still, generally we see that one climber who's just stronger than the rest, and he makes up 30 seconds each day, and then it starts to add up, and you can just see they're going to win. And we saw that obviously a lot when Lance was riding. He's winning the tour by 5 or so minutes. But again, if this stage is competitive, like, it's going to mean a lot for GC. We're in it for a good tour, but it's screaming breakaway here.
I'm screaming Rodriguez.
It could, yeah, but I don't know if he still will be in the tour by then. He might be packing his bags up like after 2 weeks and prepares for the Welter.
True.
But
I think this is the one stage that really suits him because the final climb is not that steep. Like, it's 8.3 average, and I think it suits him. So I think we could see him in a morning breakaway, honestly.
It's one of those long, poorly sprints, drag race up a climb, and it could suit Rodriguez, even if he does sit in the pack. Yeah, definitely one of those guys. I don't see this to be a GC battle.
No,
I mean a GC rider winning the stage. I don't see.
Neither. This is kind of the stage like Roman Bardet would win last year. Like, he would attack and win this stage. Or was it? No, it was Christophe Riblon, I think.
Riblon and TJ Van Garderen just keeps missing out.
This is the kind of stage you'll see that in. And I would bet Rodriguez, like, in a head-to-head, you'll probably see Rodriguez versus Rui Costa, I think. Someone like that, like another secondary rider that's not going for the GC. Or at least, I think Rui Costa might be going for a top 10, but he's definitely thinking about stage victories. So you get like Rodriguez versus Rui Costa here, and I would back Rodriguez. This, I think, is one of the stages that Rodriguez must be targeting, at least to win.
And you'll get the polka dot jersey rider going for it as well. You know, someone going for the mountain jersey.
I agree. The last chance that they will have at making any impact on Froome in the mountains, because we all know that Froome is just too strong, and on that time trial on stage 20, Froome will take a minute on you. If you're not careful, he'll take a minute to 2 minutes on you. So stage 18, this is the one we'll definitely see a GC rider winning this one, I think. What do you think?
This is the race. This is the stage where it's the last climb. It's been built up to be the most spectacular climb, the Huatacan. I hope it becomes one of the GC battles. I mean, if the GC is not solved by now, we're going to have probably the best Tour de France we're going to ever see. I would love to see the GC still. I mean, because there's so many climbs, you just think one guy is just going to be stronger than the other, and then it's going to be all solved by after being the 6th or 7th climb, 6th or 7th mountain stages.
As long as
it's going to be.
It's okay.
Yeah, if Froome has 5 minutes, I can see him going for a stage win here. He's just going to go for it. I think. I don't think he'll sit back.
Richie Porte, he might give it to Richie Porte.
Yeah, he can. He tried to do that last year in the tour. Yeah. Richie Porte just didn't have the legs. I can't remember what stage it was, but it was definitely one stage. Froome was riding. It was one.
It was stupid. I hate to see that. I hate to see when you're like trying to give your teammate a stage. I know it might be nice and all that, But I come to watch the tour to watch the biggest and the best riders compete against each other. I don't watch to see a captain give his lieutenant the stage victory. Screw that. I mean, it was different case when Simon Gerrans gave the jersey to Impey. That was nice. This is a secondary team that has no business in the tour whatsoever in the GC, and it's nice to see them like give it around. And, like in the Shoot Italia, we saw Michael Matthews getting it from Svein Tuft. Really nice of them. Those things I do like, but I don't like seeing a guy like Froome give it away just because he can. Not fair. But head to head here, I would look like just this is like the miracle bet. Like this is the bet where. If Froome, we are kind of expecting Froome to be in the leader's jersey by 30 to 45 seconds here, and if everything goes according to plan, you should bet on Contador versus Froome here. Take a bet where you're backing Froome, backing Contador, because he'll probably give like 3 times back. If Contador is not in the yellow jersey, he'll give a crap ton of times back. It'll be a huge bet, and just put like $5 on him. Or at least if you're following my system, don't do that. I'll probably like make another video explaining my betting system. But if you're just going out and about, just doing random bets, bet like 10 to 15 bucks on Contador beating Froome here, because I could see him getting like 5 to 10 seconds here, just because he needs to.
If you remember last year's tour, when it was pretty much all done, we knew Froome was going to win it. Hey, it was Rodriguez and Quintana battling it out for the stage win, and Froome couldn't keep up with him. If you remember that at the end, yeah, that could very, very easily happen this year. Yeah.
Yep. Stage 19, the very, I guess it's the very final sprint stage. That's not the Champs-Élysées. Champs-Élysées is just a fest. It's just a party, and they're going to win the sprint, of course. But stage 19, that's the last sprint stage. That's not a tradition in the tour. Who would you back for this one? The 3 main guys? I don't see greipel is going to win a stage this year. In all honesty, I don't think we'll see greipel win a stage.
I mean, things obviously sprints. I still think one day where things go together. I mean, he's got a pretty good sprint train. His guys are drilled. Like they know exactly what they're doing as well. It could easily. I mean, one day I can see greipel getting everything together and he just wins it. He follows the right wheel maybe, and he wins a stage. But again, looking at stage 19, it's going to be which sprinters still have their legs.
Honestly, it could also be a breakaway victory. I'm reading the expert comment, and he's saying that if the green jersey by this time is already settled, the sprinters might just be saying, let's save energy for the Champs-Élysées.
Oh, yeah.
Give it up.
They're going to be dead from the last 5 or so mountains.
1, 2, 3. Last 3 stages are all really tough for all the sprinters, so if they don't have anything left in the tank, or they have abandoned at this point, we might actually see a breakaway victory. We might see like the secondary sprinters go on a breakaway to try and win it.
This is the time of the tour where everyone's just banged up. They have cuts everywhere, broken bones maybe even. It's just getting over the line pretty much. And if there's nothing there on the line, I don't see him going for it. It could be anyone.
I would wait, like head to head on this stage. I would wait with making a prediction until I've seen how the other stages have been, because this can be a breakaway stage, but it can also be a sprint stage. If everything goes according to plan, stage like 16, 17, and 18 will be the hardest stages in tour history. Like they're rated with like 90 kilometers an hour average, which would be like the best for publicity, or like best for the spectators. But that probably won't happen. So if they're riding the stages very slowly, that would mean that all the riders would save energy, and then stage 19 would end in a sprint. But if they would be so nice to ride really fast in the other mountain stages, then this is probably gonna be a breakaway.
If you remember from the Giro, it was a stage like this, similar to this that Stefano Perazzi won. It was a flat stage. Everyone thought it was going to be Buhani or one of the sprinters, and guess what? A breakaway goes, no one can be stopped chasing it because the climbs are so tough that we see a climber win a sprint stage, and that climber, funnily enough, was Perazzi, and someone put a bet on him, and he was paying $1,000 per $1, and someone won a couple $1,000. So you never know.
As Akadam's friend on PCM Daily, congratulations to him. Stage 20, the most decisive stage of the entire tour. This is the day you cannot have a bad day, because Froome is going to take time on you. He's going to take 1 to 2 minutes, but if you have a big enough lead on the climbs, you could probably save your tour here. Like, this is where you fight for your spot. I mean, this is the day you just have to do. What do you think about this day? You seeing Tony Martin, Froome, Cancellara?
I think it's it's going to be, like, one of the reasons why I think this tour suits a pure climber is because there's not that many time trials, and the time trial they have is at the very end. I mean, the time trials at the end, it's really not pure time trials. It's who's got the best recovery, who's got the best leg still going. And it's, even though Froome, if hypothetically speaking, Contador has 3 minutes on Froome, I still see Contador beating Froome in the time trial like this, even though Froome's a better time trialist, because Contador will, chances are, have the better legs remaining. And this time trial is 54 Ks, that's long. And 54 Ks, he can carve up a lot of the time. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be whoever's the freshest. Tony Martin will definitely give it a go. This is a perfect time trial for him. Perfect distance. Got the couple climbs that will suit him as well. I mean, these climbs, Tony Martin can get up climbs. We saw it at the Tour de Suisse, and this time trial is perfect for Tony Martin. If he's motivated, he can win it. I mean, if you saw 2011, Tony Martin won in that time trial where Kidal Evans secured the yellow jersey. I mean, it's pretty similar to this type of time trial if you look at it. I can see Tony Martin definitely winning if he's motivated.
Because that is your value bet. Like, Tony Martin won't be the pre-favorite. The pre-favorite for this stage is going to be Christopher Froome.
I still think Tony Martin's going to be right up there for the favorite. Yeah, he will be.
I think the bookmakers will give him like a 3 times back, like 3-1 chance of winning. So I think you can bet on him and make a lot of money. But I think head to head, you'll have a Froome versus Tony Martin, and it's going to be rather close, but Tony Martin is going to be the second guy. If you want to go for value, sure, you can bet on Tony Martin, but if you want to go for the victory, or if you want to get guaranteed money, just bet on Froome, because I think this is a stage where Chris Froome is going to win it. I don't see anyone beating him. I mean, we saw in the prologue where he just beasted everybody. If he can beast everybody in the prologue, and he's a specialist in long time trials, long hilly mountain time trials. This one suits him, and he's probably going to be in the yellow jersey at this point because he is the favorite to win this. I think he's going to win this one. That's just how it is. I don't think, like, why are you backing Tony Martin? I don't see him for this stage.
This is a perfect Tony Martin's time trial. I just see it as Tony Martin. Tony Martin is the world champion time trialist, and 54 Ks, couple of hills, it's not going to fuss him too much, I think. And I think the reason he goes to these tours for time trials because it's at the biggest stage, and he gets his biggest name. And for a time trial like this, he's going to want to win it because this is the only time trial there. So I think Tony Martin's going to be really motivated to really give this a go. I mean, who knows? Tony Martin might just be, remember that year when Tony Martin was just dead? He just had cuts everywhere, bandages everywhere. He might not even go for it. So if that's him banged up, he won't go for it. But I can see him, if he's fresh, no cuts, nothing, he's going to be right in there.
So, guys, let us hear you guys in the comment section below. Froome or Martin? Who are you supporting? Are you supporting TheChudude or are you supporting me in this one? Because I am saying Froome and you're saying Tony Martin. I mean, both are very good guesses, and I just personally like, but both the guys have had great results this year, but I'm seeing Froome for this one. For the most prestigious stage of the entire tour, it's the Champs-Élysées stage. I have my bet, and it's definitely not going to be a breakaway victory. It's not going to be another Vinokurov. Who do you think is going to win this one? If you would bet on the stage, who would you bet on? Would it be a value bet, or would it be a safe bet?
It's definitely a safe bet by now. Like we've seen in the past, Champs-Élysées, it's always generally the guys. It's generally the big sprinters because everyone gets geared up for this. This is the sprint everyone wants to win. You're going to be on the headlines. You get to stand on the podium on the Champs-Élysées. You're going to want to win it. So Cavendish obviously has a love to win this stage. He loves this. He's had a superb record. It's only last year that first time he lost at the Champs-Élysées for a long, long time. And it could well go to Cavendish. I like Cavendish, but I think Kittel is obviously he's just too quick. He's just going to. I think this is going to be the tour where Kittel stamps his authority and earns the respect he deserves.
I agree.
Yeah.
You'll get a head-to-head here, and you'll get Cavendish versus Kidal, and I'm still going to back Kidal. Just for the one reason that his sprint train is just better. Like I did the Eurosport competition where I had to shoutcast last year, Champs-Élysées. He didn't even have a decent lead-out train, and he beat Cavendish. Cavendish had a perfect lead-out train. Kittel had Corndy Court. I mean, come on, Corndy freaking Court, and he still beat him.
But last year, Mark Renshaw wasn't there. Cavendish has got Renshaw back.
He's gonna headbutt someone and get thrown out. So.
Oh yeah, biggest stage. I mean, if you ban Renshaw for the rest of the tour, it's gonna be nothing because it's gonna be the last stage of the tour. Renshaw could go out headbutting everyone.
Now, we'll
Next
see.
thing we know, Cavendish.
We'll like they actually say, it's either gonna be Kidal or Cavendish. Meanwhile, we were talking. I actually found quite a funny bet. You can bet on Bet365, which is like, if you really want to get detailed bet, this is the way to go. But you're not covered by Danish law, I don't believe so. But you can bet on how many stage victories they're gonna get. And I found a funny bet. I don't believe that Andre Greipel will win one single stage. And if you bet on that, it gives 2.1 back. So if you put that in the multi, you could actually get quite good. Like if you bet on Andre Greipel to win less than one stage and Peter Sagan to win over one stage, that is 4 times back. And if you bet $5, you win $20.
That's pretty
And
good.
I think that's quite possible. I think that Peter Sagan is going to win 2 stages and Greipel's not going to win a single stage. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's quite possible. When's the last time Greipel didn't win a stage of the tour? Did he win one last year?
Let me just check that. Last year,
I,
he did not. Oh, he won stage 6. He won stage 6. That was the one that Impy took the yellow jersey. He won in front of Sagan, Kittel, and Cavendish.
oh yes, yep.
That was the hilly sprint though. That was the one where it was hilly. Like, it was upwards.
I don't know. I think Greipel is the mystery man in this year's sprint because he hasn't really done that much. I mean, he's won stages. He's won like weird sprints, and I think I just still think he's going to pull one out somewhere. I mean, it could be one of those where there's Cat 4s, Cat 3s at the end, and Greipel could get over it. I just think he's going to win one because he's going to be motivated to win a stage where the other guys aren't as motivated. So I can see Greipel definitely pulling it. It's hard to see someone with his caliber not winning a stage at the tour.
True.
That's just.
But there's just so many guys that
He's going to want to win one.
But there's just so many guys. But guys, that is it. You'll be seeing during the Tour de France. I'll be betting. TheChudude will be betting. We'll both do updates. We'll see who's gonna do the best. I'm starting with $50. I don't know how much money you're starting with, but I guess we can just like check how much money you're actually winning. I guess we can judge by that. But go watch TheChudude's channel. He's a very talented commentator. He knows cycling by heart. He's a very good bettor. I know you made a lot of money so far, and you'll probably make a lot of money doing the Tour de France. So if you want to get betting tips, go to TheChudude's channel. If you want to have a chance to win PCM 14, subscribe to this channel. You have anything you want to say before you leave? Before we leave?
Nothing much, but enjoy the Tour de France because we're all excited for it. It's going to be great.
It's going to be very great. And if you stay, let me hear, guys, if you stayed the entire 1 hour and 20 minutes, put a comment in the comment section below because I want to hear. I got to say props to you. Staying 1 hour and 20 minutes to listen to TheChudude and I talking about betting and odds and money and all that stuff. Kudos to you. And tell me if you like the face cam. I had a face cam running on doing this. And if you saw my dad walking in the room, say screw dad. But thank you guys for watching and see you guys later.